Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Jacobs from Ooh La La Spa, Anti-Aging and Wellness in Glen Carbon, Illinois. And I have the most amazing guest today. I cannot wait for you to meet her. Most of you probably already know her, but before we get to her, I want to talk about our Fountain Club Day tomorrow, because we still have a few spots left. And what this event is a way for you to come in and meet the team and see what all the products and services that we have to offer, and get a hydrofacial. And if you've not ever had a hydrofacial, it is absolutely spectacular. So one of the things that I love in our clinic is that we are very results oriented. So in order to get great results, you need to be very consistent with your products and your treatments. And so that's how our Fountain Club came about, is that it started with the skincare club, and if you get on the skincare, then you can have it shipped to you. And it's so convenient because you don't have to run in here all the time to get your products. And that's actually how it started. And then Botox started. So you can pay for your Botox monthly. It's like budgeting out your Botox. And then when you come in at your 3-month visit, it's completely paid off. So that's really the down and dirty, the simplest way to talk about the Fountain Club. And so what we're offering tomorrow is it's actually a $50 reservation fee, just to make sure that we have a spot for you. You come in, you get your hydrofacial, again, you meet the team, and then if you want more information about the Fountain Club and you want to join, then that $50 actually goes towards your membership, so that hydrofacial is then free. And the value of the hydrofacial is $150. So it's a really great way to experience a hydrofacial, and if, again, you don't have to join the Fountain Club, but it's a way to meet everybody. If you are already in our club and you send somebody in, you get this beautiful little glow on the go kit, and it's a value of $327. And if you do sign up for the Fountain Club and you're not a member already, you actually get this as well. So it's a great incentive to come in and meet us and decide if you want to get the best results you possibly can. So I think with that was the main thing I wanted to talk about. But with that, I want to introduce a very, very special friend. So how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on my
pleasure.
show. So this is Virginia Kerr, and we met, what did we say, almost 8 years ago?
Oh, more than 8 years ago. Yeah, probably 8.5, 9 years ago.
So she was the superstar, I'm just going with that, superstar of Great Day St. Louis. And so way back in the day when I was first starting out, I was a nervous wreck being on camera. And
look at you now.
Look at me now.
She's got her own show.
So when my TV show, I like to call it. So when I decided that I wanted to do this show, she was actually the first person that I thought of. And I thought, oh man, I've got to have Virginia on this show, because I feel like you taught me the ropes, you made me so comfortable.
Aww.
And if she wasn't there, and I'm sure there are other hosts that would be fine, but if she wasn't there, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I feel like we became friends back then, but you just knew how to make it so easy on me. So first, thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that.
So yeah, it was great. And then second, like I said, I just fell in love with you, and I just felt like we became such great friends. So the reason why she's, besides the fact that she's the reason why I got into this and feel so comfortable on TV now, but she's been on an incredible journey. And the last time I saw her, she was telling me all about this journey. And will you tell the story?
Well, I think all of us are on incredible journeys if we decide to look at it that way.
Yes.
And Dr. Jacobs is such a great friend and mentor to me. I mean, so many times I feel like I should pay you for your advice. But when it comes to being a mom, being busy, being a business owner, when I started a nonprofit TV show, there were so many growing pains in that. Like, I was hiring people and firing people and doing things that I did not like. And you always encouraged me and said, this is your baby, like, you have to take care of it, you know what's best. And that also applies to ourselves, our bodies. You've taught me how to take care of my skin. I mean, so many different things, but I think you can look at successful people and think that they have it all together, when so many of us hustlers out there, we're really hustling because we are running on fear. and not necessarily good energy and self-confidence. So for me, being a television news anchor and television host, that was what I thought was going to prove to myself and to the masses that I was self-confident and worthy. I mean, I really thought that. So what the problem is, though, is it doesn't matter what your goal is. If you're not happy right here in the now, and you don't realize your self-worth is full and like, I look back at this sad little girl and realize I was just as self-worthy then as I am now. Otherwise, you can go and you can reach all kinds of goals in life and you're always going to be sad and feel empty. So along the way, I developed a lot of different really negative coping mechanisms and patterns. And one of them at one point in my life was eating. I was addicted to eating because I never wanted to, or I didn't really know how, to process my emotions, to handle my feelings. And I think a lot of us out there, we numb. We numb with food, or we numb with social media, we numb with work, we numb with our kids. Like we stay so busy on something, or we eat our feelings, or we drink our feelings, I did that too, that we never really figure out who we are in the first place, and therefore we're never happy. So I don't want to go on and on and on about my journey, but basically I had the eating addiction, I was a workaholic, I got addicted to drinking, and all of these things were just my way of trying to numb myself and not face the music really. And when I finally got rid of all the numbing agents, I decided to do the work and figure out who I really was. And the last time we saw each other, I said, oh my goodness, I feel free for the first time in my 45 years. And if I could go on tour and tell every woman out there that she deserves this joy and this freedom, I would. And that's when you're like, well, come on my show and let's talk about it. So yeah, that's it in a small nutshell.
Yeah, and I think that especially when you were in, it just is exactly what we do every single day, is telling women it's okay. It's okay. You can empower yourself. We want to empower others to take care of themselves. And so that self-confidence, maybe it comes from a little Botox. Maybe it comes from a little bit of lip filler. Maybe it just comes from a little bit of product just to help with some fine lines and wrinkles. And there's such a negative connotation that you can't do that. But the way I look at it is that a little Botox is just like coloring your hair. It's just like doing your nails. It's just like going to the gym. So if that is what makes you feel better, then that's what you need to do.
Well, I came to Dr. Jacobs for a little bit of lip filler, not because I had wrinkles or anything like that around my lips, but because I was really self-conscious of a gummy smile and my teeth. And what I found was just a little bit of filler, because I have a pretty big smile, it just kind of eliminates that gummy look, and that makes me more confident when I'm smiling, talking to someone, or in front of a camera. That makes a huge difference. So I'm a huge advocate of taking care of yourself and not feeling like you're being vain if you are trying to look your best.
Right.
I mean, we're given one face, you know, we're only given one skin, one face for the rest of our lives, so why not take care of it and be able to show that, you know, the best face that you have, because that is what's going to help you feel more confident about yourself. And when you feel good, you do good. You're more likely to talk to other people and go out there and do things outside your comfort zone when you feel good about what you look like.
Right, and I always say that when you feel good and you look good and you feel like you look good, all of those goods, you are a better mom, you're a better wife, you're a better employee, employer, friend, everything, because you're like, damn, I look good. You know, and again, it doesn't have to be like you have to come and get everything done.
Right.
But just taking care of yourself. As you know, I've been writing a book. It is a slow-going process because luckily we have so many women that are in the book, and a couple of men too. And so that's why it's been so slow, is because I wasn't planning on having all of these people in. But what I realized is that in the real world, it's not about coming in here and getting $10,000 worth of stuff.
Right.
It's about, okay, what is your goal? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And then what's your budget? Also, what's your lifestyle? Because as you said, we all throw ourselves into work, and I'm pretty lazy in the evening. So am I going to put my product on in the evening? I've been very good about it because we have a new product that has only an evening serum, and I really feel like it's working.
But a year ago, I was like, I don't know. I think I'll just wash my face and be done, or maybe not wash my face because my color science. I feel like, well, it's healthy, it's fine, right? And so anyway, you have to look at all these things to decide how you can help each person. And this book has been, besides the slow process and okay, I've got to get it done now. It's been so wonderful for me because I can't tell you how much I appreciate you saying that I have helped you. That's why I love my job.
Yeah.
It is little mini counseling sessions every time, and sometimes it's not. I mean, sometimes it's bam, we get your Botox and you're out the door, But a lot of times, people just need somebody outside of their world to talk to, and that's why I love my job. And that's what I've seen with these book models is the confidence that I've been able to give them in a budget that they feel comfortable with, and not a lot of change. And it has been the most empowering thing for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, when you feel good with your heart, even outside, but you can be such a better person.
There's a saying that success doesn't bring happiness, but happiness brings success.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
So that former hustler in me who was just running on fear, now I show up every day because I can't wait to see who I get to meet or who I get to talk to, because maybe a little piece of my story or advice will help them see something in a different light. And that's it. It comes back. And so if you wake up every day, especially as a business owner, if you wake up every day and you're like, who can I help today versus how much money can I make today? You will become successful. You will, because people will be drawn to you. They will know that you care instead of you're just another dollar sign to them.
Right. And I swear that is the most important thing that drives me every single day. And we've interviewed a ton of people for being in here, and you can tell those that are in it for the job and in it for the money, and you can tell those, which, can I tell a little story about you, Steph?
Sure.
So you could tell those that are in it because they want to be in it and they love it. So we laugh because Stephanie took the job not even knowing how much money she was going to make.
I worked a week.
Yeah, and so she didn't even know for an entire week. She's like, I don't even know what I'm making, but I mean, she's a superstar. She's a rock star. And when you surround yourself by those kinds of people and you get rid of the negativity, it really, it changes you and makes you a much happier person too. And so I don't know how to tell people to, well, just walk away from that or walk away from that. Because it's a big process. I mean, it's not something that you can just go, boom, I'm done. How about a bad job? People that are just in a terrible job, and you can't just quit your job.
Right.
So I feel like just, well, here's another story. This was great. So yesterday I have a gal who was in, and she has 2 young children, and I mean, I've been there. I get it. And I said, how we became friends, I've known her for a good, 10 years. I went to her wedding back then, and we just became friends with her coming into the office, and we did some skin resurfacing back then before the wedding. But anyway, she used to do fitness competitions. And so I recently, well, it's been 2 years now that I did one, but when she came in one time, I said, hey, guess what I'm doing? And she was like a rock star for me. So anyway, she's had 2 kids. She really hasn't been working out much. She's had a lot of dramatic things happen in her life. And so every time she comes in, okay, when are you working out? What are you doing? And so yesterday I said, you need to go to the office, and she just started her own business too. It's like, come on, how much more,
Yeah.
So she says, okay, I've got to go to the office. I said, well, then you're not going home until you work out. And at this point in time, like, I love working out, but it's hard sometimes because you just don't, I know we've had this conversation too, but really in the end, it's all about the mental help that you get with that workout versus how you look. I mean, obviously we all want to look great, but that's what I told her. I said, you've got to go clear your head. So she texted me an hour and a half later, and she said, I'm so glad I popped in there, because if I wouldn't have worked out, and I feel so much better. So again, just back to that, if you just take care of yourself and make yourself a priority. It's hard for all of us, I mean, with kids and jobs and everything, but just making yourself a priority. And I feel like what we do here makes you make yourself a priority. And the Fountain Club that I was talking about, how you budget out your your funds so that you can come in here has helped so many people because they're able to afford it that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because we're not all made of money. I mean, I wish we were, right? But we're not.
Right.
So we have to figure out a way how to take care of ourselves.
And I think especially as moms, if you try to shift the mindset a little bit and it's not all about, oh, I don't want to put myself first or spend all this money on me because that sounds so greedy, that sounds so selfish. Instead, think of it as if you don't invest in yourself, then the people in your life are actually losing because they don't get the best version of you.
Yeah,
They don't get the person who's filled up and feels good, who takes the time and has the capacity to slow down enough to be present with them. If they feel like they've just spent all their gold and given it all to everybody else, and by the end of the day they get home and they got nothing left to give.
Right.
So if you think of it that way, it isn't a selfish practice to put yourself first.
Right.
You're actually investing in the people that you love the most when you do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I could not have said that any better. I love it. And the other thing when you were in, or when we ran into each other, it was giving yourself the permission or somebody else giving you the permission. And so that's how I feel yesterday with my gal. I was like, I'm giving you the permission, girl. You need to go take care of yourself. And so my husband actually a few months ago, I mean, you know, I've got it together, people in this business, but I don't. You know, like you said in the start, like you look at people and you think, oh, well, they've got it made. But in the end,
we're all a work in progress.
We all,
yes.
a huge work in progress. But he said, I was saying something, and he said, you do know you're the boss, right?
Yes.
You do know that you can say no. You do know
Right.
that you can take care of you. And I was like, oh. So he gave me permission. And so I said, thank you. I thanked him for giving me permission to not stress out over, it was kind of a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal. You know, like in the end, really it's not a big deal. And I think you just have to be told sometimes that it's okay.
And you have to have those people in your life
Yes.
who will be honest
Yes.
with you and give you that permission.
Yes.
So when I was on television with the nonprofit TV show, it was my co-host who gave me permission. And he said, he didn't say those words, but he basically gave me permission to take myself off the show and go take care of myself, go get sober, basically. And that's what, but if it wasn't for him saying, I'm gonna be okay, I'm giving you the permission, I'm freeing you, you know, to go.
Right.
Then I probably would have continued that never-ending unhealthy cycle.
Right. And I know that is a huge passion of yours anyway. That show was a huge passion and still is. So talk about that just a little bit and how you got on that journey. And you know, I'm glad he gave you that permission, but I know you're still involved somewhat, right? I mean,
yes. So the name of the show is The Thread. It airs in St. Louis, and the whole concept is sharing people's struggles and how they overcame them, so that other people who are in similar situations can have hope and know that their story's not over and that they can also overcome that same struggle. Which is so interesting because my co-host is a recovered alcoholic, and so here I am like drinking at night. He has no idea, and I'm like wasted at night every single night because the stress of that hustler in me. Eventually, you're going to burn out, and you're trying to cope with other ways that are never healthy. But so I love the show. It is such a love project, and it's kind of in transition right now. But what I found as a mom, when he gave me that permission, was not only did I need to go home and get sober, but I also needed to figure out what was most important in my life, because I had neglected everything just for this, and if I look back, yes, I felt called to do it, but again, I think that accomplishment was part of my identity, and that's wrong, especially when it's a faith-based show that's, you're supposed to give God all the glory, and here I am like, this is my TV show that I created. So I needed to remove myself from that, and what the season I'm in right now is really recognizing that the passions, the enthusiasm that you have, the nudges that you feel like, pushed or called to do something, you may not know what that means or how in the world you're going to do it, but I do believe that that's the beginning of God saying, I've got something really cool for you, so just trust me on this. Step into this now, even though you have, step into the faith, even though you have no idea what's happening. And so right now, this is not a big deal to most people, but I feel pushed to start a podcast. And what that allows me to do is something very similar to what I was doing on the show, which is share other people's stories, specifically people who are in my life. Either I know them personally or I've been influenced by them in some way, so that other people can learn from them just like I did. But this is something that's very turnkey. I can do it from my kitchen table.
Right.
So I still get to fulfill that joyful project of mine in sharing other people's stories. It's just not going to pull me away from my family 7 days a week in TV production. So
right. And I know that he gave you the permission to walk away, but how did you feel about that?
I still struggle with guilt.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. Because the fixer in me, the people pleaser in me, I want to go in there and fix it and do all the things I was doing before to fix the problem, but it's not my job to fix it, because I've got to take care of me, but I also have to make sure that my husband and my son know that they're the priority to me. And so what I was communicating to them was that they were not my focus when I was gone 7 days a week, and my personal business was going backwards because I put all this time into something, which I don't regret it. I don't regret it.
No.
I learned from that, and I love what it became. And I knew in my gut that I was never supposed to stay on that show. I think my role, God's role for me, was just to get that show launched, and let Tim take it the rest of the way. And he has. And I couldn't have done it with anybody else, to be honest with you.
And I brought that up because every time I see her, there's something amazing
And some new emotion that's coming out.
And that's okay. But something amazing that you really have a big heart, and I think we're a lot alike, that we're fixers, like you just said. And so you have to be able to walk away. You have to be able to know exactly what you knew, that it was what you were supposed to do at the time, but then you had to take care of yourself and take care of your family. And I think that's the hardest thing for people to do. And I think that getting, again, that permission is what we all need in our lives. And you were saying something, and I had a thought. I need to have notes because I can't remember what I was going to say now, but I don't know. We'll come back. It'll come back. But I just feel like every even the house remodeling, like we had this connection, and it was fun, and I loved watching your progress that way as well.
That's been a huge lesson too. So I live. I'm probably giving you way more information than you care about, but I live in my husband's childhood home in a rural area in southern Illinois, and it's not where I ever pictured myself living. The house was built in 1979, so I'm like, this is so, not me. And finally I realized, who am I trying to impress? We only have one child, so it's not like we need a bigger house. The house has great bones. We have a great piece of property. My husband has businesses there, so it's really important, and his family's there, so it's really important to him to stay there. And so in a way, it became a healthy boundary for me, because I could not run away anymore, because the old me, the journalist, I was like a gypsy, because every 2 years or 3 years my contract would be up and I would go find a new place. So I was always running, thinking that the next location was going to bring me happiness. This again forced me to, it was God's way of saying, oh no, we're going to stay right here and we're going to work on what's going on inside instead of you running away yet again. And the same applied to the house. I was like, I can just make this house, our own. Like, we don't need to go build a big house and put a bunch of stress on us financially and emotionally to go prove to what? That we have a big house that we don't even need. And so my husband and I agreed that we don't need that in our lives. Let's just make this home and stay here. And so that's been fun. I tell people I didn't go to rehab. I just had my own personal rehab at home. So I have a blog, and I talk a lot about how each room renovation was a new lesson for me as far as discovering the person that the little girl I left behind at the age of 13, because I can see that's when all these bad patterns started. I started to really discover her. I know that sounds so woo-woo and weird, but I look back and I can see how God used that obsession with my house to help me clear out all the negativity and all of the shame and all of the secrets that I had. What I found, the old me, if I was, or the fresh out of the, I don't know, the fresh out of the gates with all of my secrets revealed would be bawling, crying right now. But I don't have all of those emotions anymore because I find that the more you tell on your secrets, on your shame, you take away the power. So I don't define myself or identify myself with my addictions and lack of self-worth. I see those as lessons and ways that God molded me to become the person I am now.
Absolutely.
And the people who are watching, they may identify, they may be able to relate to me in some way. And if I wasn't able to tell you or admit to you that I had these mistakes in my past, I wouldn't be able to help people as
That's
much.
right.
But we all have that in us. I just think that we're so busy keeping those as secret, which just eats us alive, and trying to portray and give out this image of perfection that we're really so sad and secretly, and we're not able to connect with people. Therefore, we're not able to grow, and we're not able to touch people in ways that we can when we're actually just out there telling it all.
And the thing you said to me the last time is you said, I'm not chasing that next thing.
I'm not, yeah.
And that was like, ooh, because that's what everybody says to me is that, well, what's going to happen next? Because they know that that's who I am. And about a year ago, I had a consultant, maybe even 2 years, and he says, you know, you're going to do something else. And I'm like, no, I'm done. Now the book did come up. That is a big undertaking.
I want to do that too.
You can do that. You absolutely.
No, she's mentored me on that one too.
But I think that being happy with what you have, who you're with, what you've accomplished, what you haven't accomplished, it's okay too.
Yeah.
And understanding that and being able to say, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But now listen, the creative types in us and the achievers in us, it's not wrong to want to do something else.
It's not. No.
I think that when you realize that when you find that place of contentment and happiness, and you realize that you're not in a hurry, it is okay to go after that next thing, because every time you do that, you're revealing another part of you that you didn't know was there, and you're really discovering your true potential. So I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and it's this lady who makes like $25 million a year. She's like, I don't do it for the money anymore. I do it because I know, I'm going to help more people, because when you tell people you make $25 million, you're going to listen. People are going to listen to you. But the other thing is that you are enjoying the process of evolving,
right,
and becoming a stronger version of you and a better version of you, and one that can help people in even bigger ways. So again, it goes back to not chasing the dollar sign, but seeing how many more people you can help.
Exactly.
And that drive will never go away.
Right.
But again, I'm not fueled on fear anymore. I'm fueled on joy. So, I almost cried. So
No, cry. No, you can cry.
No, I always cry. That's why I'm trying not to. So, but it's tears of happiness, as opposed to secrets like it used to be.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, and if anybody from CrossFit is watching this or has watched it, I'm sitting here trying to remember their quote. They always do a quote of the day, and the quote of the day yesterday was outstanding, and it was something about you can't fix the past, you can only fix your future. It was something like that. And I was like, ooh, that's a good one. And both my boys are doing CrossFit with us. So it's a little family affair, which is awesome.
That's good.
Yes, and I thought that is a damn good one, because you can't, you can have regrets. And I'm not saying you can't have regrets, but you can't change those.
It happens.
So you have to forgive yourself
there,
and you have to move forward. And then you can create the path that you want with positivity, with working hard, with doing whatever you need to do. And so that's what I preach to my kids all the time. It's like, you can get whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. They might have this inflated, form of like, I'm the best, but that's not what I'm trying to say. It's that if you work hard, the things will come, and I think in the end, if you are passionate and you are caring and you try to be the best person that you can, it all works out.
I think all of that, if we were to sum up everything, I think especially for the people who are out there just in the pits right now, I think the first step is just looking for gratitude in any way possible that you can right now, because I really believe that God wired our brains so that when we are focused on what we are grateful for, it is impossible for us to feel sorry for ourselves. And that's something I do every day. Like before I get out of bed, I learned this in sobriety, because I was like, every day I had to like wake up and I had to tell myself 3 things that I'm grateful for. It was like a fun little game I had, and I still do it. So as soon as I wake up in the day, I'm like, quick, in my head, quick, 3 things, what are you grateful for before you even hit the floor? And it just kind of resets your brain, you know, right then and there. You're already, you know, positive for the day. So, but yeah.
Well, I'm thankful that you came on
Oh,
my
I'm
little
thankful
show.
you asked.
I'm very thankful for my team. I couldn't do it without them, and of course, my husband giving me permission to be like, come on, what's more important right now? My kids. I mean, I love my job.
Yes.
I love my job, and it's extremely important. But my kids, summertime kids, and what. They're almost out of high school.
That's
so
crazy.
So I have to, they want to be with me right now. So I have to take every minute
Yes,
that
you
I
do.
possibly can. My Jack told me on Monday, I'm all yours today. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, that wasn't on my plan. So okay, I got to change this. And so we were able to do some fun stuff.
Well,
so.
hey, watch out what you say with all these life lessons that you have in front of your kids, because one of my things in June is I'm doing something every day that scares me. And so apparently my 8-year-old has heard this. So yesterday he said, okay, Mommy, we're going to go to Six Flags and we're going to do the dragon wing. Is it the dragon wing?
No, I don't know. It is, yeah.
Tim made me do it, and
Oh,
I
gosh.
almost threw up. It is the scariest thing, and I like roller coasters. It is the scariest thing I've ever done, and now I've got my son, like now he's telling me the scary things I'm going to be doing. So
He's creating.
Yes.
You know, that helps though. It
Yeah,
helps
it does.
because what if you don't know what's going to be scary next? So he's telling you, he's helping.
yeah, well, stay
So,
tuned. I'm sure we will document the scary moment.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, we're probably right about time, I would say. So, I can't thank you enough for being in my life, being my friend.
Thank you. I feel the same way.
So I was so excited to have you on today. I would love to have you back in a few months, and you can tell us more about your journey. You need to write down all of your scary things, because 1, it's going to go in your book.
Yes.
2, you have to report back to us.
Well, I just start an Instagram account and a Facebook page called This Is Virginia Kerr. And I think I'm going to document this whole podcast thing, because I have no idea. I just bought the microphone. I have no idea what I'm doing. And so I'm just basically going to let people know that, like, this is what it looks like when you do something scary and you just jump in and just figure it out later.
Well, I mean, isn't that what we all do?
Yes.
Or at least the 2 of us. I
You're
don't know.
supposed to.
I mean,
or
I
you're a
think-
procrastinator and you're waiting until it becomes perfect before you do it.
Yeah.
And that's another bad way to do
And
it.
that's the other quote I have sitting on my desk, and it says, done is better than perfect.
Yes.
Done is better than perfect, and I tell my husband that all the time, because he's the idea man. He's probably listening, but he's the idea man, and everything has to be perfect. I'm like, no, done is better than perfect. So I think just jumping in, that's what we did with this show. I never know. I think you asked me, like, okay, what time should I be there, and what's the plan? I don't know.
You were like 5 till. You're
Yeah,
good.
I don't know.
I'm like,
I don't know what we're
okay.
going to talk about. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm hoping that people are liking it. I don't know. But hey, we're enjoying
But
it,
you're
right,
having
Steph?
fun. Yes,
we're
that's what
enjoying it.
matters.
And we're educating, and I think that's what it's all about, is all the education. So, well, again, thank you so much. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. This
so
was
much.
fun.
Yeah, it was great. So, if you have any questions, any comments, and you want a private message, maybe there's something for Virginia, or what did you say your Instagram
This
is?
is Virginia Kerr on
Yeah.
Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. So follow her, follow the journey, because I'm sure loving the journey. And give us a call if you have any questions for us, 618-288-9117.